What is going on, guys? The Inside the Blue podcast, and today we have our QB list, and we are breaking down all of these quarterbacks at the bottom of our screen. We got a bunch of QBs, bunch of young QBs, bunch of QBs that are not very good. These are all of our tiers. So we got the franchise QB. This is, of course, pretty self-explanatory. It's the guy that you definitely want leading your franchise. Getting with the elite tier, it's a quarterback that I think is really good and maybe on the verge of being that franchise quarterback. A great quarterback is a QB kind of that's going to get you in the playoffs and kind of just a really, it's going to get the job done. And good is just pretty much in that kind of mid-good tier. And then terrible is terrible. And then rookies is pretty much all the rookie quarterbacks, because I can't have Drake May or J.J. McCarthy or any of these guys like in a good tier, a great tier. Maybe I'll have a video about potential wise of what some quarterbacks ceiling is and all that. But getting into the first quarterback is Mr. Aiden O'Connell, and it's pretty self-explanatory with some of these guys. Aiden O'Connell is not great. He's on a Raiders team that sure has Javonte Adams and Zamir White and just got Brock Bowers. But either way, I mean, this guy is not... He's not going to really be much. Getting into Anthony Richardson, a QB that I really liked last year before he got injured. And this is a guy that could sling the football, has the potential to get the Colts in the playoffs. That's a playoff team that can be a playoff team, right? I don't remember on the top of my head of where I put them. I think maybe potential wild card, I think I did, because as long as Anthony Richardson is healthy, this team can have a really good year. Like, you got a Jonathan Taylor that's healthy. You got Michael Pittman Jr., a solid offensive line led by Quentin Nelson. And I think for now, I'm going to put Anthony Richardson in that good tier just because he is still young and he didn't show enough. Like, he didn't have a full season. So that's why I have him in that good tier. Getting into Aaron Rodgers, right? Aaron Rodgers only played... not even a full quarter with the Jets, not even really a full drive, right? He only played 4 snaps. And I do have the Jets making the playoffs, right? I think this is a 10-win team. I have them losing week 1 to the 49ers, but Aaron Rodgers is still Aaron Rodgers. He's still one of the most decorated quarterbacks in the NFL. He's still one of the most talented when it comes to arm talent. And now, when it comes to franchise... If this was Aaron Rodgers' Green Bay era, of course, this is a franchise quarterback. Do I think he's in that elite tier? Maybe. Definitely not in the good tier. I think this is an elite great quarterback. I'm gonna put him. I'm still gonna put him in that elite tier for now. That could change on this video, but I still think Aaron Rodgers can have a really good year. They improved the offensive line. Breece Hall is back. Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams, guys like that. I think Aaron Rodgers, it's hard to not put him in that elite tier. Getting into Baker Mayfield, brought the Bucs to the playoffs. They beat the Philadelphia Eagles in the playoffs. Had a pretty good year. And Baker Mayfield's just going to go in that good tier. Nothing really else. I think Baker's a good quarterback. I think he's fit for. I think he's got a good spot in Tampa Bay. Getting into our first rookie, that is indeed Bo Nix. Nothing really else to say. The Broncos aren't going to be a good team anyways this year, so I just want to see Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, all those young players that are coming into their first year to have a good rookie season. I think that's what every NFL fan hopes. They hope the Broncos will not be in contention for the number 1 pick. They very well could be. But yeah, enough said with Bo Nix. Hope he has a good season despite being in a tight division with the Kansas City Chiefs. I had the Chargers missing the playoffs, but that's still a decent team. Now getting into Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy has been a name, in my opinion, that's been thrown around of the franchise elite great tier. It's definitely one of those 3. For me, it's between franchise and elite. I mean, I feel like we've gotten enough volume and enough sample size of what Brock Purdy is, right? This guy fits in this Kyle Shanahan offense very well, and I think he's a quarterback that can win a Super Bowl with the 49ers. And now people are probably going to say, like, if I put Brock Purdy above Aaron Rodgers, what does that mean? But I think Brock Purdy is going to be in that elite tier with Aaron Rodgers. And now, do I think he could be the franchise QB? 1,000%. And like I said, things can very well change in this episode. But for now, he'll be in the elite tier because I think some of his benefits are just because he's on a stacked Niners team. Getting into Bryce Young. Now, the thing is with Bryce Young is like his first season, it's hard to put him in. It's hard to put him in a good tier, and it's kind of annoying that I kind of have to put him in. In the terrible tier just because he had a poor season. Now, I think if I definitely added a tier that's young and maybe promising, that could definitely well be the chance. But I think for now, Bryce Young is not a great quarterback, but a great future. Like, if I made another video of bright futures, Bryce Young is definitely up there. I think they still need to make a lot of moves in order for that Carolina team to be somewhat competitive in that division. But, yeah, and with Caleb Williams, nothing really said except I think the Bears could have a really good season under Caleb Williams. We saw that they don't want to go with Justin Fields anymore. They feel that Caleb Williams is the guy. They draft the number one. They get him a stud wide receiver in Rome Odunze in the draft. They get him Keenan Allen. They get him a defense that's solid. They get him a new running back with DeAndre Swift. A bunch of weapons on that team. And I think the Bears could be a 7 to 8 win team under Caleb Williams in that sense. Getting into C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud, a quarterback that had a really solid first season, right? Made the playoffs, beat the Browns in the playoffs. Had a solid first year, and they just got Stephon Diggs. Whether you like him or not, it's still a weapon of choice for C.J. Stroud, and I think I'm pretty sold on what C.J. Stroud is. I think he is in that elite tier for quarterbacks, and with franchise quarterbacks, there are of course a few in this list, but for now, C.J. Stroud could definitely be a franchise quarterback. But as of now, he's in that elite tier, and as of now, the Texans are rolling. They have a really solid team, young defense, young offense, such a great team, and they definitely have a great chance to win the division. Getting into Dak Prescott, another quarterback that I think I could get some backlash on because I am a Giants fan. I think Dak Prescott is always a regular season quarterback. I think we can all say that, and I know people are going to say, well, you're a Giants fan. Where are you going to put him? For me, I know he does terrorize our team, and I think Dak Prescott could have definitely had a real case of winning the NFL MVP last year because he just was so talented. He had so many touchdowns with CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson. Cowboys, I think, are still a playoff team. With Dak Prescott commanding, $60 million, do I think he's worth that? No, I don't think really any quarterback besides Patrick Mahomes is. But I still think if this is in terms of this list is kind of in terms of their regular season, and I know people are gonna mention Aaron Rodgers because he only played 4 snaps. He was probably gonna have a pretty good year, and we all saw the Jets couldn't run an offense with any quarterback. Whether it was Zach Wilson or I forgot their other quarterbacks, but I think Dak Prescott is still in that elite tier. And going into our quarterback for the New York Giants, Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is a quarterback that, of course, the media hates him. CBS hates him. Pretty much the NFL, really craps on the Giants because of a $40 million contract they give him after only throwing 15 touchdowns. He won a playoff game, so he's going to get paid. But I think even myself, I was shocked when I saw $40 million per year. The Giants can definitely get out of that this offseason, which I think they definitely can, and I think they will. I don't think anyone in the front office believes Daniel Jones is a guy. If you watched Hard Knocks, it already looked like Brian Daboll was trying to trade up for Drake May or Jaden Daniels, and yeah, the Daniel Jones experiment is over. He's in year 6, and we still haven't really got a real great season besides 2022. And if you really look at that schedule, they don't make it. The Giants don't make it, but they didn't really play any good teams. And they beat a fraudulent Vikings team in the playoffs. So Daniel Jones, to me, is a terrible QB in this NFL. And I don't know the future of Daniel Jones after the New York Giants. I don't know if he becomes a backup or goes to a completely different league. I think some type of team was probably going to add Daniel Jones. And another quarterback going into that terrible tier is Derek Carr. Derek Carr in that Saints team is brutal, and I don't think Derek Carr is in that good tier anymore. He was maybe good a few seasons ago, but I don't think he's in that good, great, or any type of tier above that. But if there is a quarterback that I still think is good, and I know he hasn't played like his 2019 self, it's Deshaun Watson. I don't think I'm ready to say he's a terrible quarterback. I think he's still a good quarterback in the NFL. Do I think he's a great quarterback? No, unless he proves me wrong this season. And yeah, I mean, Deshaun Watson, the Browns can easily make the playoffs. I think we definitely can understand that. They're in a tight division with the Ravens and Bengals and Steelers. Those are all three playoff teams that can be playoff teams. The Steelers definitely have a lot of work to do if they want to be that playoff team, but I think the Bengals and Ravens kind of have a lot. They are locked for playoff teams. And I think with Deshaun Watson, if he shows any sort of self of 2019, Browns could have a really good year. Like, they could have 10-plus wins, but getting into our next quarterback, probably my favorite QB prospect, except for Caleb Williams, is Drake May. Of course, he's just in the rookies tier. And I guess we'll throw just straight J.J. McCarthy out there already because, unfortunately, J.J. McCarthy won't be playing this year. Drake May is sitting behind Jacoby Brissett. Now, we're getting into Geno Smith, Jalen Hurts, and Jared Goff. Geno Smith, this guy was mainly a backup. Comes into Seattle under Pete Carroll and actually has a pretty good year. Do I think he's elite? Do I think he's franchise quarterback level? No. And quite frankly, I'm going to tell you this right now. There's not many franchise quarterbacks I have on this list right now, but I think if I look at it, I think Geno Smith, I probably would rather have him over the three quarterbacks in the good tier. So, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to put Geno Smith just in the good tier. Now, I know everyone's saying, where are the great tiers? Where are the great tiers? All that. They will be there. Don't worry. We definitely have some. These are our remaining quarterbacks. We got Jalen Hurts. We got Jared Goff. And we're going to throw Jaden Daniels in that rookie tier. And here we go. Jalen Hurts, eliminated by the Buccaneers last season in the playoffs. Kind of had a complete downfall last year. The Eagles were looking like they were going to be the team to beat in the NFC. 49ers crush them. Dallas gets to them. They even lost a game to the Giants, even though that game kind of was just a crap show at MetLife. And with Jalen Hurts, I think he's a quarterback that, of course, relies on his legs and gets a lot of rushing touchdowns from the tush push and all that. I'm gonna put him in the great tier, and I think it's gonna be a hot take. And I know I am a Giants fan, and I know, but I think Dak Prescott is better than Jalen Hurts. I think C.J. Stroud is better than Jalen Hurts. I think Brock Purdy is better than Jalen Hurts. I think Aaron Rodgers, fully healthy, is better than Jalen Hurts. Yeah, I think there's a decent amount of quarterbacks, not too many on this remaining list, that are better than Jalen Hurts. But I think the great tier, I think if he has a good season next year, it could definitely be in that elite tier for next year's episode. Or we could even have an end of the season NFL's tier list. And I fully expect some people to take a jump, like Anthony Richardson. I think Anthony Richardson could definitely be in the great tier and all that. But getting into Jared Goff, a quarterback that had a good year as well. These next four-ish quarterbacks had a very strong season. In my opinion, I think it's ready to say that Jared Goff is an elite quarterback. Under this new Dan Campbell era, I think Jared Goff is a team that can go to the Super Bowl. And I do have him in that elite tier list. And another thing is, I think Jared Goff is better than Jalen Hurts. So, and I don't have anyone yet in that franchise quarterback list. When it comes to franchise, it's kind of tough to explain, but I know everyone could say C.J. Stroud is obviously the franchise quarterback, and so and so, Jalen Hurts is the franchise quarterback and all that. When I'm talking franchise, I'm talking like he does things that many of these quarterbacks in the league don't, and Joe Burrow is one of those. Joe Burrow is easily a top 3 quarterback in the NFL when healthy. He can beat Mahomes. He can play to that level as long as he's fully healthy and the offensive line doesn't collapse. And he's a quarterback on this list that I think has one of the best chances of winning a Super Bowl this year, as long as he's fully healthy and Jamar Chase is healthy and T. Higgins and all that. They could be a really good team. Getting into my next quarterback, Jordan Love. Am I ready to say he's an elite quarterback yet? No. I think he's a great quarterback in the NFL, and that's why I'm going to have him at that great tier. Now, I think Jordan Love had a spectacular season last year, and now he gets paid $55 million a year to be that guy. And now I think after one season, I think he can improve his game even more. And I think that's why I have him in that great tier. I think he's an amazing quarterback, and I think it's amazing for the Green Bay fan base to hit on 3 straight quarterbacks. But with Jordan Love, like I said, another guy that can make the playoffs and have a good year. They had a good year last year, kind of fumbled in the playoffs late, but I still think they're a great team, and I think they're going to have another type of season that they can go far in the playoffs, maybe see the Lions, maybe win the division. But I think Jordan Love is definitely a great quarterback. Getting into our next franchise quarterback in the NFL, that's Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen is the most overhated quarterback. I know everyone sees his interceptions and all this. Interceptions to me are kind of outdated in a way because not every interception is on Josh Allen. Of course, I can go to numerous games and say that Josh Allen threw this pass or this pass. That is completely on his fault. But I don't think all of those passes are nearly on his fault. And I think just what Josh Allen does is what you need as a quarterback in this league. And I think some of the quarterbacks even I listed don't even have the attributes that Josh Allen has, or even Jalen Hurts, or these guys that can roll out in the pocket and use their legs. Like, if you're a quarterback and you're not a mobile quarterback, it's tough for you to survive in the NFL. Like, you need to be able to run, because these D-backs and defensive linemen and all those type of people, they are running crazy 40 times, and they're getting stronger. Humans are getting stronger. They're getting faster. So you kind of need a mobile quarterback, or your team is not going to be good, and especially if the pocket collapses, the quarterback is collapsing. But getting into our next quarterback that kind of gets overhated, that's Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert is a guy, I wish he had a better team. I wish he had a wide receiver 1 this year under new coaching and not Ladd McConkey or however you say his name, Joshua Palmer, Quentin Johnson. If he had Keenan Allen this year fully healthy, I think we could have seen a great season out of Justin Herbert. Now the question is, do I put him in the great tier or do I put him in the elite tier? It's tough for me to say because I think this is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. I think today, where do I think I'm going to put Justin Herbert? I mean, I think another thing too with Justin Herbert too is that Justin Herbert, right, is a guy that can win you a playoff game, in my opinion. I think as long as the Chargers front office starts to see, if they start to see what they need to actually get, like an actual true wide receiver 1, I think the Chargers are going to be in a better spot. I'm just pulling up my top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. Hold on, folks. But yeah, I think something else that needs to be said with Justin Herbert is that, and I kind of said it already. Like, if you give this guy a really good team, I think he could have a really great season. So I'm actually gonna put him in the elite tier. I think he is a great quarterback. He is in my top 10. He is my top 10. Like, my top 5, I'll say it to you right now. It's Patty Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Herbert, and I do have Justin Herbert there. He's actually in my top 5. Now, I think that might be a little crazy to say, but getting into Kirk Cousins, don't think he's in that. I don't know, actually. I mean, with Kirk Cousins, I think he's a top 12 quarterback in the league. So I think he could be put in the great tier. I think that's fair. Kyler Murray, I think, is also a quarterback that I think gets a little bit of criticism. He's in a tight division. I think he have a good year. I think they're a potential. Playoff team. I'm gonna put him. Man, it's so tough to not put him in the great tier. I'm not gonna put him in there. I'll put him in the good tier. Lamar Jackson next. This guy is a franchise quarterback. These are kind of my 3. And there's one more, I will say it. I think you guys could probably guess with the 6 remaining quarterbacks. But Lamar Jackson made the playoffs, has won a MVP, waiting to get to that Super Bowl. Didn't play the greatest against Patty Mahomes in the playoffs. And I think these 3 quarterbacks that are in the franchise tier are 3 quarterbacks that have a amazing chance, like probably the top 3 odds to beat Mahomes. Sorry. I think Brock Purdy, I'm not saying Brock Purdy doesn't, or CJ Stroud, or Jared Goff, or any other quarterback, but I think those 3 are the top 3 easy picks for like a top 5 ranking. But getting into Matthew Stafford, I love this guy. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks in the NFL because I was so happy for him to win a Super Bowl. I think he's definitely a top 10 quarterback. So I think I could definitely say he's an elite quarterback in this league. And I know I might get a little bit of like some criticism, and listen, I'm all for it. I'm all for it to debate you guys in the comments about, Jalen Hurts is a franchise quarterback, or Aaron Rodgers cannot be that high, stuff like that. I'm more than welcome to debate you guys. I love the comments. I love the appreciation. I love all of it. I love talking to you guys. But I think this next quarterback, not much to say. It is the back-to-back Super Bowl champion, Patty Mahomes. Do I really need to say much? About Patty Mahomes? My question to you in the comments is this guy going to win 3 straight rings? Are we going to wait so many months just to see Patty Mahomes raise the Lombardi for a 3rd straight time in a row? I think that would be nuts. And I think the Chiefs, did they really lose that much? They lost Kadarius Toney to waivers. That's not going to kill him. They added Marquise Brown, but he's going to be out. They have Rashee Rice. I'm surprised he's not suspended. This could be another fun Chiefs team, man, that's just unable to be beaten. And I think if there's a quarterback that can beat him, it's Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, or Lamar Jackson. Getting into our next quarterback. No longer on the sorry, just looking at my list. No longer on the Denver Broncos. That is Russell Wilson. He's just a good quarterback to me now. He is definitely fallen off, and I don't think it's very fair to say that he has much left. I think he has some left, but not much. The Steelers, I don't think, are a team that is going to go very far. I think they definitely, could finish 9-8 and continue Mike Tomlin's over a 500 record. But I don't think like the Steelers are going to be some team to watch out in the AFC. I think they're the worst team in their division. but they're also in a stacked division. So take that as you will. Getting into Trevor Lawrence now. Kind of debating, honestly. Debating with either, honestly, good or great. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is a terrible quarterback at all. And I think I'm going to put him... I think I'm gonna put him in this great tier. I think Trevor Lawrence could have a really good season this year. And also joining him is Tua Tagovailoa. So with Trevor Lawrence, right, he has a decent team, and I think they can make noise in that division, right? You look at their division, it's good. You're going to have to worry about C.J. Stroud and Anthony Richardson. But I think Trevor Lawrence is still a good quarterback. And now, I don't like to mention stats and all of that, because stats can sometimes, with injuries and all that type of stuff, be, a little bit off. But like I said, new wide receiver, Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Etienne is there. To wrap up this tier list, we have Will Levis, and he's going to be in that good tier. I have high hopes for Will Levis this year. Despite being on a terrible Titans team, a old Titans team, D-Hop is there still. We all know who DeAndre Hopkins is. Calvin Ridley is still on the team. No, Derrick Henry might hurt, but it can open up the run game. It can, Derrick Henry, he's not a pass catcher. You could really open up things with Spears in the backfield. And that offensive line is slowly getting better. And I just think that with the Titans, it's just another rebuild year. They're not going to make much noise, if any. They're not going to be good and a team to watch out for. Like, if you're playing the Tennessee Titans, you're probably expected to win. I forgot who they're playing week 1. I think it's the Bears, actually. I think the Bears are playing them week 1. I have the Bears winning. If you haven't checked out the week 1 schedule, predictions, week 1 picks, definitely tune into that. But yeah, that's going to do it for this episode, guys. Just to recap it real quick. Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, and Lamar in the franchise tier. Elite tier, I still have Aaron Rodgers there. I still think he's an elite quarterback, and I still think he's a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. Whether you love it, whether you hate it, I'm a Giants fan, and I'm saying it. Brock Purdy, C.J. Stroud, Goff, Prescott, for Herbert, and Stafford in the elite tier. You got the great tier with Jalen Hurts, Jordan Love, Kirk Cousins, Trevor Lawrence, and Tua. You could definitely make the argument for Trevor Lawrence to just be in the good tier, but I think I'd take Trevor over a bunch of those good QBs. In the good QBs, you got Baker Mayfield, Anthony Richardson, Deshaun Watson, Geno Smith, Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, and Will Levis. The terrible tier, the team that you don't want these guys throwing for you. Aiden O'Connell, Bryce Young, even though it's very early in his career. Derek Carr and Daniel Jones. And then the rookie class with Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, and J.J. McCarthy. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Let me know the next tier list you want me to do. I am more than happy to do it. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.